of course, the lineup for them has been having a little bit of trouble lately. They did not win the most convincing series over Cognitive yesterday, but we'll see if they can turn that one around. Twitch banned out for the first time now against over NME here.
Yep, but as a wise man once put in his League of Legends status, i.e. the manager of Zenith, a win is definitely a win. So I'm sure they've shored up some of the problems that they had in their victory over Cognitive yesterday, and NME has yet to prove themselves. They had a forfeiture to a victory to get them into the semifinals. Boreal could not field a roster in time, so we have yet to see anything from them. This lineup is pretty familiar, though, as you can see. It's a lot of players from Elemental team. The name is
AoE, actually. Yeah,
AoE, yeah.
Effect.
Yeah. With a couple other players thrown in there. So these guys have played together for a while now, aside from the couple players that haven't. But they are some pretty strong players and some pretty old names within the Challenger scene.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get that lineup right down there on the line. So up in the top lane for NME, it is Cac God, also known as the Cax, and Nori in the jungle. Wolf is actually the Wolf's Claw, if you remember him. Otter on the AD carry used to be on old XGG Virtus for a little while, and Body Drop will be their support player.
Yep, and of course, we saw Zenith, Soul King, Mimo, Easy, Alex the Man, and K1 yesterday. And they go ahead, pick some bans, going pretty quickly. These are a lot different bans than we saw in the game in the last series. Zillionaire Rumble, Twitch, Rengar, Lucian banned out for the side of Zenith. And they go ahead and first pick the Lee Sin. So Rise once again left open, and NME is going to pick that up real quick.
Mm-hmm. So those have been hotly contested picks, of course. Lee Sin rarely actually making it through the ban phase today, since it was targeted out consistently in that last set. Of course, this time they do let it slip through, although I would say it's a little bit unusual to ban it unless you have a very, very good reason specifically to do so. So Mimo will get a chance to show himself a little bit of fancy footwork on that champ.
Still some high priority picks left. Like I said, picks and bans went quite a bit differently here. Kha'Zix was left open, so I'm gonna go ahead and think that NME is probably gonna pick that up as their next pick. And Zed also left on the table, so I don't know. We might see some Zed Rise action like we did in the last series. That's a lot of big picks that Zenith has left up on the table, and we're seeing a Nami again. We saw lots of Nami and Janna yesterday. Didn't see it in the series versus LawPro and Team 8, but looks like it's making its comeback as Zenith goes ahead, picks up their Nami and the Maokai as well.
Mm-hmm. With that being said and done as well, Wolf's Claw does have a number of comfort champions in the mid lane we may not have seen as much of lately. Ziggs comes to mind as one of those options that is very, very comfortable for him, but maybe seeing something a little bit different here as they hover on the Braum for Body Drop. It would be interesting to see a new Cassiopeia make way here.
Yeah, a lot of players have been pretty vocal about Cassiopeia being relatively weak, at least before the couple of quality of life buffs that she received after her rework. But I would like to see it in action, because we've yet to see a competitive player really bring it out. And Wolf's Claw was one of those guys that brought out some unconventional picks in the past. I think he was one of the few that played the Vel'Koz in the mid lane. But they go ahead and stop hovering over that and pick up the Kha'Zix.
Yeah, they go ahead and pick up the Void Bugman. So that was, as you mentioned, quite a likely obvious pick, and they will save their mid or possibly their top if they send Rise to that mid position for the last choice, and that leaves Zenith guessing. See what they do. Close their picks out with. Still need themselves an AD carry and a mid laner.
Yeah, again, Zed making it this far, still on the table, and
Ooh, the Jinx hover for Alex the Man. That would be a curious choice.
the new Cho'Gath splash. It confuses me every time.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it reminds me of like at first glance, I always think it's a Nivea for some reason. Just I'm not sure. It has a very bird-like feel to it for some reason.
There's a little bit more teeth involved, though.
Yeah, it's like the spikes on her head, the frost spikes.
Yeah.
From far away, if you go like five.
I don't know, man. I feel like if I get a choice between the two of them, I think I'd rather have the Anivia. But they do lock in the Jinx, so we will get to see that bot lane as well as the Orianna. Definitely some wombo combability right there, especially between the Lee Sin or Maokai ball delivery system.
Easy on the Oriana, that huge
Oh,
five-man
yes.
shockwave yesterday that won Zenith a game. Just like that. They had a scrying orb and then a shockwave, and that was the end of the game there. So I'm really excited to see this, and Wolf's Call bringing out, or I guess we'll just call him Wolf. Wolf. Bringing
We'll
out
just
the
call him Wolf for
Zereth.
the
And
time being. So,
Easy actually showed a really good Zereth performance as well. So we have some different picks than we saw in the last series. We're going to see a little bit more control style of mid laners, and we're going to get to see some Lee Sin play, and that's always exciting.
So, with the roster all filed out right here, it'll be interesting to see how these two teams match up against each other. I'm especially interested in that mid lane. As you mentioned, Easy had a fantastic time on both of these champions, and we've yet to see Wolf's Claw in action so far this side of the Black Monster Cup.
Yep. This Oriana Jinx combination is something that goes back so long, since Jinx was able to be played in competitive play. And it just huge in those mid-game team fights around those dragons. We've seen a lot of the LCS teams and a lot of competitive teams really blow games wide open with the combination of that rocket and the shockwave, if they can manage to land good ones, which Ishii has definitely showed that he can do. Braum, we haven't really seen much success from Braum picks as of late, especially compared to the disengaged supports. So I'm curious to see how Body Drop and Otter are going to play this. They've had a lot of experience in the challenger scene. They've had some experience together as well. So they should be a bot lane duo to be feared. But Alex the Man and K1 have a lot of experience together as well. So these are two lineups, or two bottom lane lineups, that have been in the challenger scene for quite some time.
In various incarnations as well. So that would be a really interesting matchup just as far as the laning phase goes. I really want to see the Jinx Nami, not something we get to see all the time just because Jinx has been long considered kind of this specialty pick. But Alex the Man would be the one to bring it out as well. And the scaling into the late game is still pretty awesome there. Jinx is a very item-dependent champion, of course. Maokai and Oriana get incredibly terrifying. But over on the other side, NME has a number of late-game weapons as well.
I think it's really going to come down to a lot of the Rise play here. It's such a high priority pick, and we'll see if Cat God can do as well as we saw Flares do it in the last series from LoL Pro. That's a team that a lot of teams will leave that pick available, and it's one of those top lane picks that can really be a huge impact on a game, especially later on. So I think we can look to there. But I think the big feature matchup is going to be in the mid lane between Wolf and Easy, because these guys are playing, like I said, those control-oriented mid laners. And it's going to be really cool to see how they can manage to do in these team fights.
Yep. So with that being said, we will be going into a quick break, guys, as Zenith and NME eSports both prepare to take to the Rift. Best 2 out of 3. Who will move on to the finals to take on Team LoL Pro, and who will go home? We'll be right back, and you guys will find out right after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Summoner's Rift. We are getting ready to get game number 1 underway. NME eSports taking on Zenith eSports for the finals spot to take on Team Lowpro. It's going to be a tough match for whoever does make it through, but right now they're going to have to earn their way in. Enemy making moves 5 members deep over to this blue buff side. Meanwhile, Zenith is doing the more conventional line of scrimmage. Uh-oh, this invade might catch K1 off guard.
Yeah, they're going to come around this corner, but they are spotted. He does manage to get the ward down. But yeah, both these teams have a lot to prove. Enemy hasn't had to show anything yet. They did have a forfeit to get to the semifinals. And Zenith looking to prove that they can close out games a little more consistently. So we'll have to see what these guys have in store for us. But this is very similar to how we see a lot of level 1s go. Both teams just sort of mirroring each other, getting quite a bit of vision on the enemy red side jungle, but that's pretty standard.
Yep, so all that effort expended just to get that one deep ward out, definitely totally worth on that one. And they will send Otter back just for a moment. Buys himself a sweet potion there, so pretty normal starts looking for both these teams. Zenith not super interested in doing anything hyper aggressive here, although they have left Solo King in the mid lane for any eventuality. I think they're looking for the lane swap, or rather the counter lane swap.
Yeah, and this could be the start of a really sneaky late invade. Wolf is actually sitting really far back by his turret, so he's not in the mid lane to spot this invade coming, and this is going to be devastating if they don't spot this.
Yeah, this is all 5 members
and they
here
get
now,
through.
And has no idea. Oh my goodness, body drops coming up as well. They're going to wait for him to start the blue buff, only sending 4 members. It's going to be more than enough as they bring it in, and it's revealed a little too late. Inori, the flame choppers, he has to flash it, but that's a twisted advance. Mimo is going to be able to come on in as well. Inori is there. Otter is finally in it as well, and all they've done is stall the timeout. Actually, Mimo's in a little bit of trouble here as the blue buff is now aggroed. Inori coming around the side gets the void spikes off, and Wolf is now coming to the rescue. This is going to turn into a level 1 team fight. Here we go. Alex, he's a little bit low, body drop tanking at the front line. He is trying to make something happen for his team. Finally, it's going to be first blood. That's K1 actually picking that one up, and they take down Inori. No blue buff for him in the next couple of minutes. Easy has come in to help clean this fight up as well, but that was not the level 1 that they were looking for. Actually, the flash in, Easy has to burn his own. It's not over yet, and they're still going. Wow, down goes Easy. Oriana kill picked up, and that's going to be Wolf getting himself one. Solo King might be next.
Oh, the stun comes off.
Yep, he's going to go down, though. I don't know if there's really any other way this can end, so it completely backfired. Level 1 invade ends up going in favor of Enemy eSports now, and then lanes reset, but it was a little wonky.
Zenith has had some really good and really creative level 1 starts, but I think they overstayed their welcome there, or at least they didn't think it through with their level 1 strat. Inori not falling in that initial engagement, the Flame Chompers just barely not proccing on him, which would have been a guaranteed kill, was huge in allowing Enemy to come back on the fight, and they had a great collapse and sort of trapped Zenith in their own jungle, and it, like you said, it just completely backfired, and now they're really far behind. Not only did they come on top of kills in that little skirmish, also Cat God got some really good alone time up in that top lane, so he's going to be able to bully Solo King out.
Speaking of bullying, Alex the Man didn't back after all that, and he took a serious amount of abuse, so he's had to sit way in the back of his turret just to get a little bit of farm here. Fortunately, he does have the rockets now that he's hit level 2, did invest level 1 into the Flame Chompers. Should be able to clear this wave up with relative ease since it's not being punished right now by Otter. Meanwhile, mid lane, Wolf's Claw and Easy continue to trade a little bit back and forth, but there is that slight advantage Zenith has from the kill gold. Hasn't gone back and spent it yet, though.
Yeah. Easy did manage to get back. He just got some extra gold just from the ambient gold, the passive gold, so he was able to pick up some vision, which is going to help him. But I mean, this game is probably going to start to stabilize. The big thing that we have to worry about, though, is the top lane. That's a really big CS discrepancy. Not only that, it's a pretty big experience discrepancy as well. He's got almost a full level on the Solo King. Of course, it's going to get smaller and smaller as time goes on, but CatGod's in a pretty good spot, especially on Rise.
He's able to buy that tier really quickly now, 4 minutes, 45 seconds into this game as he rushes back to lane. Inori doing a little bit cover detail for Wolf's Claw in the mid lane as well. And yeah, there's slight advantages. Let's see if Enemy is able to utilize that to take themselves into an advantageous mid game. For the time being, still relatively even, but that could change very quickly.
I think the player that came out on the worst end of all this is probably going to be Mimo. His flash is up, but he got set so far behind on his jungle path, and on a jungler like Lee Sin, that's really rough, but he's got a good counter gank.
Yep, they are able to get that one off. Minion's going to block for body drop there, and he doesn't connect on the zap, but it may not even matter. Alex should be able to pick that one up. A rocket, he gets the reset, get excited. Won't be able to catch Otter, however, who just wheels his way back to his tower. But as you mentioned it, Mimo was a little bit farther behind, but he helped his team get right back in the gold right there, and he just goes and takes himself a couple reward golems.
That's a really good gank path there by Mimo. He had to sort of make up for that poor start that he had, and you can tell the blue buff is still available for Mimo. The blue buff is still available for Zenith. He hasn't even been to that side of the map. He called that audible. He said, it's probably more beneficial if I go for another gank and try and make an impact instead of just trying to farm my jungle, where Kha'Zix in a farm jungle battle is going to beat me out anyway because he's going to be able to outscale. So just a great call by Mimo and a great gank to sort of get Alex the Man back in this game and pick him up a nice kill.
Yep, Mimo is going to get spotted out, or at least blind spotted out. Wolf and body drop nearly collapse on him. He will burn a summoner to be able to get away, as well as the safeguard, but he does make it out alive, nearly getting picked off by enemy eSports collapse.
Yeah, a little bit rough there. Body drop with the Braum roam. That's something, one of Braum's strength is his ability to roam across the map, because he doesn't have to be that afraid of being caught out because he's tanky enough to be able to withstand, and he also has great follow-up on his ganks from his team. If he manages to land that Q, he can have a relatively easy to land Zera stun, or Kha'Zix has great damage to follow that up as well.
And meanwhile, Alex is having trouble just finding farm in this one, as Otter really has been able to take it to him and punish every attempt he's made. That level 1 disadvantage has really kept it hard for him to keep pace, really, but his experience is still catching up, so they are able to maybe do that now. This could be a very early Dragon attempt, however, for enemy eSports. They're sending 4 members in that general direction. Dragon is being started. The contest is not available if Mimo doesn't get there in time, and it doesn't look like he will. So this Dragon, despite it being only 7.5 minutes in, should be secured up, but here comes K1 to try and do something. Not going to be able to get in there in time, and that Dragon does go down in favor of enemy eSports.
Very well timed, and not only that, they actually sent Cat God back to base just in like the perfect timing, so that he'd be able to teleport to the dragon fight if needed, or if not, be in a good spot to just either teleport back up top or just run there like he's doing. So he's still even about 15 CS ahead, and he's going to have this wave as well. So he's been put. Oh, the shockwave!
Wow, he catches Wolf. I'm surprised it was just off the edge of it. Mimo's going to go in, but the stun, it does land on Lee Sin. That's an excellent decision from Wolf's Claw, and he ends up being able to get away as a result of it. They're still trying to go in on that, but it is hard to find a Zenith when he's already under tower.
Yeah, it keeps both summoners as well. Just good presence of mind to be able to escape from that one. And that's Shockwave down as well. So level 1, that's a relatively long cooldown. So enemy, they have to be happy with the spot that they're in. And again, that level 1 has to be weighing in the back of Zenith's mind. A lot of the things that they're having trouble with so far in this game have been directly because of that level 1, especially down that bot lane. You said Alex the Man's having trouble finding the ability to CS with Otter and Body Drop, just bombarding him with harass, and that's just because he couldn't back at level 1. He came to lane with less than half health, and that's just not something that you can afford to be able to do in a lane as volatile as the bottom lane.
That being said, the kill that he picked up on Body Drop did enable him to go back and pick up a BF sword first. Definitely not too much of a setback on a champion like Jinx. Now, meanwhile, the mid lane continues to duke it out. Wolf's Claw and easy trade and poke as much as they possibly can. Alex will be able to get a ward clear on there. Mimo just outside of the vision range, and Body Drop and Otter are still making aggressive moves, but Otter able to kite it out best he can. They're waiting for the opportunity, but Mimo's already backed.
And Ori on the Kha'Zix has been pretty quiet this game. That's not all that surprising from a Kha'Zix, and he's done a great job of farming his jungle, about 10 CS ahead of Mimo. Has hit level 6, so could go for some gigs. Whoa, Otter gets caught.
Catch Otter, the Flame Choppers, double connections on a Body Drop as well, and they will be able to get the damage out. He does have 6 available. The Rocket's gonna win. It doesn't get dodged out, and Body Drop going down, but a good separate. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Cat God and Solo King gonna duke it out. Mimo is there. The flash, he's gonna be able to dodge away from the Q, and that's going to be an escape. But again, another kill picked up by Alex the Man onto the support. Wolf, meanwhile, in the mid lane, right of the Arcane coming in. Easy gonna flash away from the Void Spikes, narrowly avoiding death once again.
Yeah, he's got the flashing health bar, and Wolf still holds on to his summoners, but that's going to be pretty big for Easy. That flash is going to be down, and a close call for him, but that mid lane is just about dead even thus far. Wolf got a little bit of an advantage from that level 1 fight, but the CS has been good. Easy's been the one that's sort of been calling the shots so far. He's been the one that's been putting on the aggression, but such great play by Alex the Man and K1 Pro down in that bottom lane, able to pick up a kill in a lane that they were sort of destined to lose from the beginning of this game.
CC combo is really paying dividends for them. K1 has been absolutely fantastic on his bubbles this game, and it has allowed Alex the Man to secure not 1 but now 2 kills onto body drop. If only they could shut down Otter, who continues to snowball his CS lead ahead, however, still only sitting on 1.5 pieces of Triforce. Uh-oh, Easy about to face check into Inori. He finds him. He's got the command protect on. He's got a level advantage. Can he walk it out? The shockwave comes in. That's quite a lot of damage, but Wolf's Claw's there, and he had to burn the ultimate just to get away.
Yeah, that's a well-placed shockwave there, making sure to put Inori behind him to better facilitate his escape. But I mean, that's a cooldown down for him, and that's some health and mana that he's going to lose in a matchup that he's already having a little bit of trouble with. So I think maybe if Inori had a little bit more mana, he might have tried to chase on for that kill a little bit more, because he does have that ultimate available. Ooh, wow, Mimo's focusing quite a bit of attention on this top lane. Now that Cat God's flash is down, he's waiting for it. Solo King, the ultimate bait.
Oh, he tries to bait this one out, but he comes out a little too early here. Can he connect with the Sonic Wave? No, he doesn't even attempt it. And that was a bit of a trigger from Mimo, just going in a little before the time really was necessary. And meanwhile, down on the bot side, Alex continues to try and punish Otter, and body drop is so far unperturbed. They continue to push on forward. 20 CS lead for the AD carry of NME eSports.
Yeah, it's been about a 20 CS lead for the majority of this lane so far. If you take a look at the total gold, he's only about 200, 300 behind, which is pretty good considering that CS discrepancy. But NME managing to continue to hold on to a little more than a 1k gold lead, which is pretty much just from that dragon that they picked up for themselves. Other than that, the lanes have pretty much stabilized themselves across the board, maybe with a slight CS lead in favor of NME in most of the lanes.
Yep, now Easy has been very, very slowly pushed into his own turret for a lot of this, as Wolf is able to dish some damage on him. That turret not quite down yet, but meanwhile, they take a turret down on the bot side off the help of Inori, so Alex does not go back to his base, but the first tower of the game does go over to NME eSports, and they establish a little bit more control on that bot side with Dragon about to spawn.
And this is really great map movement and vision control from NME. They are timing their aggressive pushes really well. They have a really good vision control over the riverside, and are positioning themselves super aggressively on this side of the map to try and discourage Zenith from wanting to come and contest this next dragon.
Oh, Mimo and Inori, there's the kickback, and they are going to be able to finish this one off. The bug goes down, and a nice 1-2 punch from Alex the Man and Mimo means that they're able to take a kill with the dragon about to spawn. A bit of an over-aggressive move by Inori, and NME might still go for this.
He actually leaps back into the Flame Chomper, so I think he was dead to rights anyway, but that's a pretty big positional error there. That's going to cost them a lot of map control, a lot of control over this river.
It cost them more than that. Shockwave. Oh, Wolf flashes it. The rocket comes in, and Alex the Man picks himself up at third. They're able to rock and roll now. Alex, he's in a little bit of trouble. Gets on the wrong side of a rise, but the Rune Prison not going to be enough damage after all of that said and done. Another pickup. It's Easy this time, making it look just that. And here we go. Body drop, jumping back. Solo King. This is where Zenith shines. The jungle skirmish is going so well for them. They get a double kill for Easy. Off of that, they can move straight towards the dragon, and they'll be able to clear a ward for a nice extra 30 gold quite along the way.
And just like that, they completely swing the game. 3 kills to 2, all the way to 7 kills to 2. And if they manage to pick up this dragon, that's going to put them about 2k gold in the lead, which is a gigantic swing from the rough position that they were in before. And that's all.
Ooh, Inori, he nearly got the steal off, ends up sacrificing himself, and Easy gets a spree off of that, just like that goes from 0-1 to 3-1. And they don't take the tower in the mid, but they do shore up a gold lead.
And I mentioned about a minute earlier, maybe a little bit more, that Alex the Man was about 300 gold behind Otter. Just with those kills alone, he now jumped to about 300 gold ahead. So a 600 gold swing just on one player from that fight alone. And he picks up the Infinity Edge. And he's going to start to outscale Otter pretty quickly if he manages to keep up this kill streak that he has going. So Zenith just pulled themselves right back into this game, and now NME's the one that's sort of on the ropes here, and they have to try and make some moves. Inori, I mentioned earlier, he's been a little bit quiet. It's something that you can afford to do on Kha'Zix because he can afford to be a little bit more of a farm-heavy jungler, but he's finding himself out of position one too many times.
Yep. Who needs kills, or rather, who needs CS when you can farm champions instead? And that is exactly the Zenith strategy right now. Taking those skirmishes all the way to a gold lead has been pretty fantastic for them, but if you're NME eSports, you've got to be scratching your head. What happened after all of that? They just high-fived themselves into death.
It was just kill after kill after kill. And sort of what we saw in the last game. They get a catch, and then the next person of enemy stays around a little bit too long. Then they get that catch, and then the next member stays around a little too long trying to save their teammate or salvage the fight. And then it's just sort of a snowball effect.
The Flame Chompers came a little bit too close together, but still Alex has the damage. He is return firing quite a lot. They're trying to bait this one out. Mimo's here. The exhaust is on the wall. Oh, Otter's going to flash over the wave, and they do get the shutdown gold, but they might be able to finish him off here, or they're not even going to try for it because the teleport comes in from Cat God. So the bait was reversed, and they take down Alex, the man, for the shutdown.
That was a really good bait. Whoa, Wolf gets shockwaved in the mid.
Easy. Oh, he blows his combo already, though. Doesn't have the damage, and here comes Inori. They might have gone a little bit too hard in the paint here. Zenith going nuclear, the flash already. There's shutdown gold. This time it's Ryze who picks it up. Inori burning away, but it's Mimo who goes down. It's a double kill for Cat God, and Inori lives. Meanwhile, down in the bot lane, Otter continues to push up. The rocket gonna come in. Not enough damage, and he lives just barely.
Wow, that was really close. I'm sure Alex the Man is not happy with not being able to pick up that kill, but Solar King is getting some solo farm in the top lane and wasn't able to follow up that teleport, but Alex the Man just committed a little bit too hard to that bait and took a little bit too much damage initially trying to get enemy to follow them. There was a lot of fancy footwork from Otter though. He dodged a lot of the abilities, flashed out of the ultimate from Nami, and that was what allowed him to pick up that kill onto Alex. And if he hadn't picked that up, they could have been able to snowball that. Alex the Man would have gotten that passive and might have been able to escape. So a really good job by him to try and salvage that kill before he had backup.
Yeah, really nice reaction time from Otter to be able to clean it up. 2-0 on this game now still. Hitting that power stride as he's got the Trinity Force already completed. Now pings are flying over in this blue side jungle, and here comes Inori trying to get a steal off. Doesn't get in there in time and is spotted out by a pink ward. Perfectly placed. It does get cleared away there. So NME eSports definitely trying to find a little bit more advantages they have, but the gold lead has been completely neutralized. It is dead even right now for both these teams at 18 minutes into the game.
That was dangerously close to a steal by Inori, and that's really impressive by him. I'm sure it was all luck, but
of course,
he was completely blind to that blue buff, and he ran right up to it and threw those void spikes in there, and he was about a little bit less than a second off from taking that away from Easy. So that would have been quite funny if he didn't manage to take it, but alas, he does not. And mobility boots start from him though, so he's really looking to make an impact all the way across the map.
Yep, Solo King now in a little bit of trouble, but his bark is quite sustainful, it would appear. He is able to walk it out of that 3-man gank squad. Meanwhile, Cat God is going to clear a couple of wards in that jungle as well. So focusing right now, denying as much vision as they can. NME eSports looking to get into this mid-game, well, with more than what they had before, which the early lead was blown, but they have a chance to come right back into this, and the tower was taken up top. Meanwhile, only 2 towers here for Zenith. They are eyeballing this last outer turret.
It's good map movement here by enemy, getting that last outer turret, and next dragon spawns in about a minute. I think this is very similar to Zenith's performance in their games yesterday. Very back and forth, and they have some moments of brilliance like that last team fight, but then they suffer from a little bit of positional errors at times, and they get caught out. And this has just been such a really back and forth game thus far, and I think this next dragon fight is going to tell a lot about how the rest of this game is going to go. Enemy has a lot of pretty big power spikes here. Otter has that Trinity Force and those Sork boots completed, so he's going to be doing quite a bit of damage, not only in the team fights, but also the poke from the rockets. And Inori is very close to having his second evolve, so if he manages to get those wings evolved along with the void spikes, he can clean up a fight pretty well. So I'm looking for enemy to be the ones who makes the move towards this dragon.
Well, Enemy is in position to try and take this one when it does come up in the next 20 seconds, but anything could happen. Alex the Man trying to put his team in a decent position to do something right now as well, but they got to watch their positioning. If they get caught out, it could be trouble. All 5 members of either team hanging out towards this dragon right now. They both really, really want to secure up this next extra bit of gold. It will mean the difference. However, mid tower should be fired down pretty easily. They've zoned Wolf away, and they actually just move straight towards the tower. They do get stunned out, Easy does rather, but they get that pickup, and they're going to trade this for the dragon right now. Enemy making moves towards that side, but it looks like they're not interested in contesting. Zenith making moves up to the top. They have a wave built up, and they might be able to get a power swing this. 2 towers for the dragon would definitely be something they'd want to grab, and they are zoning Wolf away.
Yeah, this is great movement by Zenith. They realized that since they had that big wave pushing up in the top lane, it'd be a lot more beneficial for them to just concede that dragon over to Enemy and position themselves aggressively in that top side jungle, rotating from that mid turret to that top tier second turret. So they come out on top of that trade. I mean, the gold is still about where it was, and Anori's going to get quite a bit of damage onto this bot lane turret as well. But Zenith doing a great job of salvaging what could have been a bad situation and avoiding a fight to a very power spiked enemy team.
And in the mid lane, you can see Otter and Body Drop did kind of get cold feet pushing onto that mid side. It was really only Easy coming to defend it, so they do not manage to secure either of the towers, but they do take a chunk out of that bot one as well. As you mentioned, Inori may not be super effective at getting those kills this game, but he has been able to side push just a little bit.
So this is where we normally see a lull in these sort of close games. The dragon's down, all the outer turrets are down as well, and the gold is very even. So neither team feels like they're in a position to really be the ones to make the move. So I'm curious to see which team is going to step up and which team is going to go for the aggressive moves, try and get the deep vision, and try and be the ones who are the aggressors in this type of situation. But by the looks of it, this could be a long game.
Yeah, vision denial is definitely being prioritized now by both the teams here as they see Zenith clearing out a couple of wards towards the Dragon Pit, not going to be available to contest for just a little while. However, they are looking for little advantages where they can. The tower lead is definitely in favor of Zenith, but it's a very, very close gold game, and one wrong move could mean the difference between staying dead even and just falling way too far behind.
And this is where those mobility boots really aren't paying off for Inori. He's not really in a situation where he's having to maneuver around the map super quickly because their team is mostly just staying as a confined group here. It looks like Enemy are going to be the ones that kind of have the lead, that kind of think they have the lead, and they're going to try and get deep vision here. Let CatGod push this wave and position aggressively down near this bot second tier turret where Inori was doing a little bit of work on it earlier on, but it's still, I think, around half health, and they don't have the best for well, no, it's a little bit less than half health.
Axe is backing now. You've got a 4v4, and Solo King is still pushing up in the top. He's actually going to move back, and he does have teleport available. So does CatGod. So this could be interesting. Inori now trying to push on the mid just to stretch everyone out. Mimo is there, and he does go in trying to get a little bit of defense off. Enemy moving 2 members in that general direction. This tower could get fired down. It looks like it will.
Really slow reaction.
Maybe not yet. Inori, he gets kicked back. The bubble's not going to connect. That's the Braum ultimate. They knock him up. Mimo, he's going down. That's one pickup for the Zenith. Wolf is going big in this one. The rocket comes in. Inori's down. That's going to be Alex the Man picking himself up a kill. Nonetheless, they look like they're losing this fight. Solo King is in trouble. The tree, can they burn him down? It looks like they can. It's a double kill for Otter. And they lose 3 members and only take down Inori.
That's a big move there for Enemy, and they're going to be able to pick up this Baron with relative ease. It's still early in the game, 24 minutes, so there's a chance that they might be able to get there, but it's a very, very slim chance. That was just a really slow movement there from Zenith from the bottom lane up to that mid lane in response to that rotation by Enemy. And Mimo got a little bit ahead of himself, tried to make the initiation onto Kha'Zix, but overextended, and his team sort of followed him into that overextension. And they gave up a lot for it, and now Enemy is in a pretty good position. They're going to have this Baron buff. They got that first, second tier turret down. Oh, the shockwave!
Shockwave! Oh, wow! Alex the Man able to pick that one up with a rocket. Can he go in? He gets the zap off, and it does connect onto CatGod, but they don't have the follow-up damage. Rocket not available, so they will remove at least 1 Baron buff, and it's Body Drop that was going down. Probably the best that could have happened there for Zenith.
Yeah, Anori is always off by himself. The split push jungle strategy. I talked about the mobility boots not being as useful for him this game, but actually it has, because really he spent most of the time away from his team, except for the times where they've been going for those big deep fights. So not really getting much out of it, but going for the wave control, making sure that he's trying to push out these waves, and now he's going to be able to get some jungle camps, maybe some vision control. Dragon's up in a minute. I can imagine that enemy will be able to take that one with relative ease, as long as they can continue gaining this jungle control, which they've had for about the past 5 minutes.
Bit of a lead in this game for them as well, and with the Baron buff, it's going to be difficult for Zenith to try and take the fight, but they will try. Alex, he's going down, fired, and that's Zenith getting all fired up. Easy is in a little bit of trouble as well. Solo King, they've just sacrificed him. He burned a heal, or rather, he gets healed, but that is down, and this is not looking good for Zenith eSports right now. This game could end very, very quickly if they continue to make mistakes like that. Mimo getting healed up by the Nami, K1 helping him out just a bit. The sustain is there, but they only have 2 members to defend this push, and with the Baroned up enemy eSports, that ain't going to be easy.
Yeah, they should be able to get at least an inhibitor turret off of this. They do have to worry about this big wave that's pushing down towards their bottom tier turret, but they're destroying this. They'll be able to pick up an inhibitor as well. That's another big move by enemy, and not hesitating at all. And you can see just how much Wolf is contributing to the success of enemy in this game. That was basically all him, soloing out Alex the Man. It was sort of the same situation in the last fight. He got that combo off on Alex the Man, but he was able to flash away the last tick of the ultimate. This time, Alex the Man, no escapes available, and he just falls to the massive amount of damage that Wolf is doing.
So the minions were able to take a pretty big chunk out of that bot side turret, but that is a consolation prize. Dragon now going to be bursted down quite quickly, an enemy making use of this Baron buff quite well. Also a significant amount of vision invested over on the bot side, and pretty much throughout the jungle this game of Zenith eSports. So they will attempt to make moves and cover their tracks, but without a middle inhibitor, that is going to be a gaping hole in their defense.
Alright, so mid lane inhibitor down, Baron's down for a while, Dragon's down for a while. Enemy still has that Baron buff, so probably going to head down to that bottom lane next. We'll see if they're going to be able to pull the trigger. That's a problem that we've seen not in the last series, but in the series yesterday. Some teams were a little bit afraid to pull the trigger, even when they knew they had a pretty large lead and had the Baron buff. So I'm going to be curious whether or not to see enemy is going to be afraid to make those risky engagements with the turret to try and close out the game, and if it's going to pay off for them.
Well, Azumo, they do manage to take down that turret. Was only just a few ticks away anyways, and all 5 members of Zenith are here on the bot side to try and defend, but they have Inori once again on his own, able to push this back, and they just don't have any pressure anywhere. That's the issue for Zenith right now.
Yeah, Inori is just the lone wolf in this game, which is...
Lone bug, rather.
Yeah, the lone bug. And Wolf has actually been with the team. And, I mean, look at him.
Now I'm just confused.
He's doing well at getting the waves under control, but, I mean, you really need your jungler in this type of situation. They're missing a lot of their poke potential. They have the Zenith, but they're missing those void spikes, which help the Zenith poke, because you land those void spikes, it puts that slow onto him, which makes that poke from Zenith easier to land, and they're just not putting enough pressure on the map right now with this Baron buff, and just awkward back timings, and they're probably going to be able to get another turret out of this up in that top lane.
Oh, Mimo, he's going deep. He finds Wolf. They get the kick, and the shutdown goes over to K1, and that was not expected from Wolf, I guess. He just was blindsided by that one, but a fantastic move by the Blind Monk.
What a play by Mimo, and that's one of the weaknesses of Zenith, is if he does get caught out of position, he can get bursted down really quick. No innate escapes.
Their enemy's going to be able to get this tower, and they might find Solo King as well. Oh, well, they're going to go for it. The ball delivery system, they find Inori, he jumps away. Alex is going to be the backbone of this fight if he was going to get the damage. Body drop, gets the knock up to try and disengage. They're still going for it. They find Cat God. Do they have the damage? Mimo going deep. He gets in. He gets blown up. That's Inori getting the kill. Body drop. They chase him forward. Solo King going on in. Inori is down. It's a double kill. Going over to Alex the Man. The rocket follows all the way. It's a triple. Can he get the quadra? I don't think so. Otter, he stays alive. Finally shutting down Alex the Man before getting shut down himself by K1. That fight went all kinds of haywire, but in the end, Zenith was able to come out ahead. Can they come back into this game, though?
Yeah, all enemy was able to get out of that push was one turret, one second tier turret. I guess they got the bottom lane second tier turret, but Zenith pulls themselves a little bit back into this game. They actually have the kill lead, and it seems like team fights are going really well for them. As long as they can get Alex the Man to start getting those resets in those fights. He had eight kills now he has, and he's going to start to outscale Otter as this game goes longer and longer. So they have to be wary, and that was all off the back of Mimo's play in the bottom lane. They were able to fight that fight 5v4, which was which
Pretty
allowed
impressive.
them to get the lead. Yeah.
Not only that, their inhibitor timing, respawning immediately after they were able to clean those minions up with Solo King,
Very perfect.
really helpful for them as well as they try to get back into this game and push. Baron's going to be up in a minute. Enemy eSports has to be careful. Yes, they've been ahead and they have a massive gold lead, but a fight can turn around, and as we've mentioned time and time again, a well-placed shockwave can mean the difference between victory and death.
Enemy's confidence might be a little bit shaken after that last fight. I'm not sure how aggressively they're going to position to go for this Baron. They do have an open inhibitor, which is going to give them a little bit more breathing room because Zenith has to play a little bit more cautiously as that. It's not like they have two open inhibitors or some open Nexus turrets, but that's always got to be weighing on the back of your mind that if you misposition just a little bit, the enemy team can take advantage of it, get a free inhibitor, maybe even end the game with a couple of kills. So
The vision is there, though. They do see Easy making his move around the side, and they try to answer back. And Ori going to take a little bit of poke from the Orianna ball as they do see the sight there. Solo King going on to Otter. This might be a little bit too early, but they find him. He did face check that direction. Shockwave going to land only onto body drop. That crucial spell is blown. Teleport now getting canceled. Body drops going down. Wolf, though, in the back line causing havoc with his Rite of the Arcane. Solo King still tanking up the damage, and they are going to disengage jungler for bot lane, a jungler for support rather, and there's an Ori. Alex is going to fire a rocket. Completely wrong direction. It's wide to the left, and this is Zenith taking the wrong fight. They have lost 3 members now. Can it be another Easy trying to walk it out? But there is CatGod on the chase, and he does not have flash. He will not be able to secure the kill, but that's going to be the inhibitor retaken again for enemy eSports, and Zenith just too overzealous in that fight.
they had a decent start, but again, like you said, that shockwave is such a big deal in these team fights. Imagine if he'd gotten 2, maybe 3 members instead of just body drop. That was a close fight, and that could have swung it in their favor. He only got the support, and I mean, I understand that you can be a little bit trigger happy, and especially when a fight is that chaotic, you can kind of tend to be a little bit too liberal with that shockwave, but I mean, it's going to come back to bite them. Baron is available. They do take that inhibitor again. Don't get much else out of it, though, so it's not like Zenith lost too much from that. They're still very much so in this game, but they have to rely on Easy to get those better shockwave. We saw that he's capable of it yesterday, so I'm sure he wants to see some big ones.
Well, this would be Zenith's chance if they wanted to do something sneaky to rush down the Baron, but they might have taken a little bit too much time. They make moves in that direction. They see the pink ward, and they are going to make moves that way. Yeah, enemy not really quickly reacting to this one at all. They give up the vision control over by Baron, but they're so confident they can win a fight at this point. They don't seem to be taking this super seriously at all. CatGod in the bot lane has the teleport available. There really isn't any pressure on the map, though, so it seems like they've just wasted their time.
If Zenith had made the risk and decided to go for the Baron in that
situation. Otter hits that kick back. Otter, they don't land the chompers, but it doesn't matter. Otter is caught up anyways. Death Rocket lands. Otter's still being fired down. They don't have the damage to finish him off, and it's Mimo still staying alive. Will finally get the job done. It actually ends up going over to Solo King, who's still alive until now. That is 1-4-2. Zenith committed so heavily to picking up Otter, and they do get him, but they lose their jungle and top, and this might be an enemy eSports Baron.
And with the jungler down and all the ultimates down for Zenith, this should be a relatively easy pickup. They don't have their AD carry, so their damage is going to be a little bit lacking. Oh, I don't know.
They're not going to go for this one.
Yeah,
attack's too low.
If they had Otter instead of anyone else on their team, they probably wouldn't be able to do it, but they just have really low Baron damage at this point. Not really much percent-based damage, and none of those auto attacks that they're going to get from their AD carry. So another decent fight. They're starting to pull a little bit more and more ahead. Okay. Wow,
this is interesting. They're going back on fort. Cax is still pretty low. Body drop tanking most of the damage, and they know this is happening. Zenith has Mimo up and available, but will he get there in time? It doesn't look like it. They get one more out. They're still committing to this Baron fight. Body drop is low. The rocket is almost up. I don't think it's going to be there in time. That's the Baron secured. Body drop should go down. That's a reset for Alex the Man. Solo King's in here. Cax is going down. It's a double kill for the Jinx. It's Alex the Man coming up big, and the rest of his team is there as well. They should be able to pick up Wolf as well, but that's a lot of AoE damage. Wolf's going down. Triple kill for Alex the Man. Gets another reset. Pops the flame choppers on absolutely nothing, and they're still chasing forward. They might have secured the Baron, but NME eSports has shot themselves in the foot right now, and they're trying to find Inori. Mimo, can he go in? He waits. He goes. He gets the kick. That's one more. The shockwave only on one member. The jump away. Alex the Man is in the back. Mimo's going down. They get the
gets
jump.
out.
Inori gets away alive. They committed a little too heavy to that one, but they're still pushing on forward, and they have 4 members available. Can they pick the inhibitor up here? Oh, Solo King does go in and forces Otter to Valkyrie away, but now they're all backing. They don't have any pressure on the mid, and there could be a problem with everyone starting to respawn. Zenith wants to get out of town. They still have the disadvantage here, but they have been able to take these fights.
There's a big super minion wave pushing up the mid lane. Kaka does have teleport, so he can cut these guys off. It's unfortunate they don't have any wards that are behind the enemy team, so he's not going to be able to do that, but
they can't back though. They have to walk the long way. This is a problem. They're going to lose a tower.
Yeah, it's
maybe 2.
I don't know. The wave spawned. There goes the first one, and the second one.
Second's gonna fall. They lose 2 Nexus turrets off of that, and they don't pick up anything but a tower and kills. Mimo comes back too late. In the end, it's Zenith that takes the disadvantage, and they still are down 10,000 gold in this game.
Yeah, that could have been really disastrous for enemy in that situation. That was a very risky Baron call, not only for the fact that they didn't have their AD carry with them, but for the fact that they had their top laner with them, low health, and Solar King was respawning, who was one of the members that was dead, and he had his teleport available. So they knew that the fight could have been a 4v4 with them being at huge health disadvantages in that situation. Inori manages to escape with his life, which was actually a big deal, because if he had gone down, Zenith might have been able to push in that inhibitor trait and that inhibitor and been able to trade at least something for those 2 lost Nexus turrets that they got. But now Zenith have to play really cautiously, because if they get too far out of position, enemy can just rush up that mid lane and maybe even finish the game.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the game plan, because enemy just hasn't been winning these fights, and when you see all the buffs on the side of Zenith right now, it's a little bit troubling. Even though they were able to secure up the Baron buff, they lost it on several of their members. It's really only sitting right now on Otter and Inori. So with all of that, enemy esports has still got to be feeling a little bit scared to take straight up fights. I think if they could try to pull Zenith out of position and lead them on a wild bug chase, they might be able to end the game just there, but Zenith is not going to let that happen easily.
And Alex the Man is rapidly approaching that 6-item late game Jinx, which can be really scary, especially with a front line as big as Solo King. If Easy can land a good shockwave and Alex the Man can get some resets, this fight can turn in Zenith's favor really quickly.
They don't want to take this right now. This inhibitor is going to be fired down pretty quickly, or maybe enemy is going to get cold feet at the last minute and back off of it. If they get the connection, if they get the CC, they should be able to go all in this, but they are being poked out right now, and they lose the inhibitor again. Cax going forward, thinks twice, just in time to back away from the combo CC train, and enemy again continues their slow push, moving it this time to the bot side.
Yeah, and CatGod breaks off, going to get ahead and push that top lane. Smart move. He does have teleport available. At this stage in the game, though, the fights are going to happen so quickly that you want to be a part of them really fast and not having...
Alex is going. They have to make sure they don't lose him, otherwise this game could be over very easy. There comes the Zenith ultimate. Alex is going to stand into one of them at least, and Mimo takes a little bit of damage on the AoE as well, but it does end, so Wolf is not going to be able to push in any farther with that particular spell, but this tower is still under siege. Meanwhile, CatGod is pushing uncontested in the top lane. They are getting pulled left and right. Can Zenith find an answer? Alex actually gets stunned up and takes a lot of damage. He has to go back to the fountain. This might be the chance for enemy to push in. Rise is still uncontested. They take inhibitor turret number 2 up in the top. Number 3 is about to be fired down. And Zenith eSports really needs to take these fights if they want to get back in this game. If they can win one, they might be able to march down the middle, but they're losing inhibitor turrets. They're losing inhibitors. Can they stay alive in this game? They're trying to find the fight. They lose the tower. Body drop is there. They might be able to pick him off. Shockwave not going to to be nearly enough, but it only kills one member. It's body drop. There's a killing spree for K1 on the other side. Wolf and Cat God are in a little bit of trouble. There is Zenith with a 5-man. They get the twisted advance in onto Wolf. His health bar's melting, but he gets Azania's hourglass. Easy still alive, but for how much longer? Cac's getting chased away. He goes down. That's another pickup. Wolf is going down. The minions are still marching into the base, but Otter is the only man standing. The rocket is not available, or is it? It goes in for the ace. That's a pickup for Alex the Man. They get a clean wipe, but can they end the game? They have to defend their base.
5 for 0 ace from 10k gold behind on the ropes, 1 inhibitor down. They have 0 turrets remaining left in this game, and they managed to hold up that good of a defense. Enemy has to be scratching their head saying, what went wrong in that fight? It was a really sloppy initiation, but again, Alex the Man just on that back line, just doing so much damage, and they just don't have a way to deal with them. I don't think that Zenith is really going to get much out of this. They probably will only get it 1 inhibitor out of this. They definitely won't be able to end the game. They're not going to even go for the inhibitor turret, so not really much gain, but they're going to shorten that goal lead, and it gives them that confidence boost to say, hey, we can win a fight. Even if we don't get a perfect initiation, we can win these fights. But, I mean, look at their base, or what's left of it. There's nothing there.
They do have 2 inhibitors still remaining, so the saving grace there is that enemy wasn't able to finish that one up and have the double super minion waves pushing in, so they only have to watch that middle. The issue now becomes, can they contest the Baron? If they drag them around the map, enemy might be able to just sneak into the middle and try to end the game, and that might be the game plan, because Zenith has just shown time and time again, doesn't matter how far down in gold they are, they can win fights.
Yeah, I'd have to say these team fights are really even right now. If nobody gets caught out at the beginning, if it's a straight up 5v5 team fight, it seems to be that it's really close.
Cax has a teleport, and there is a ward in this base. If they
I don't know about that. A Rise backdoor.
The Rise backdoor is the legendary move. They are going to send Solo King back just in case, and this is still a very tense situation for both teams. Enemy has this game incredibly high lead, but they cannot fight against this team, especially with the late game Jinx. 13-4 with 13 assists as well. Toll items. Mimo going to take a little bit of damage here. They are splitting off right now, and Nori's hanging on the backside. Even though they're taking the poke, Zenith eSports fancying their chances right here, and Nori doesn't really know which way to go, and they don't have Cat God either. He's pushing up against the minions in the top. If they know this, Zenith can just push on towards this for the 5v3. Can they take the fight, or should they make moves towards the Baron pit right now? Inhibitors respawning, so all 3 inhibs are back up, and they'll have to take that one out if they want to try and backdoor this. Zenith is trying to bait out the Baron.
Yeah, and Nori, he's looking for some backdoor potential, but
secret mission in the jungle.
They don't have the waves in their favor. Cat God was forced to the top lane to clear out that big wave, and now Anora is going to be forced down to the bot lane to clear out this big wave. Enemies playing on the back foot now. They're playing on their heels. And Anori is all the way in the bottom side of the map. He's a jungler, so he doesn't have teleport.
They're going to start this Baron right now. Yeah, this is probably the best move they can make at this point, because there's no way that enemy's going to be able to end this game if they try to take the trade right now. Baron is being fired down so fast. That is the power of having a Jinx to clear objectives, and they should be able to take this one right at the Arcane. Can he get the steal off? I don't think so. The Smite should be able to go down. Either way, the fight is going all sorts of crazy. Solo King getting caught up in the middle. The wave comes in. Solo King still alive, but not for long. He goes down to Otter. Can they finish this one up? It's a 4v5 if they want to take it, and they don't. Enemy eSports looking to chase this one all the way into the jungle, but they are going to deter them with a well-placed flame choppers and bubbles. Can they take this 5v4 though? Solo King has been the backbone of their defense, and they will at least lose an inhibitor here.
That's their front line down, and since they have no turrets to fall back on, is that Baron buff going to matter? Can that Baron buff make up for not having the Solo King in this fight? Because I think that enemy is going to look to clean up all these inhibitors.
I don't know. Oh, Alex, he gets caught. He could go down here. That's the damage. Anori's still alive. The shockwave lands. They don't have enough left in the tank, and K1, he gets shut down. Body dropping Anori. Still up thanks to the Guardian Angel. This could be game. Enemy eSports holds off to the last, and it's only easy left to defend. That's going to be GG in 44 minutes. Game number 1 going to Enemy eSports.
A long, well-fought battle, but in the end, Enemy does come out on top. It looked pretty grim for them. Zenith had a great opportunity to take that Baron, but Enemy reacted with a nice team fight, and again, on the back of the Rise, the Flash Rune Prism onto Alex the Man, and that's going to be it. He didn't even have time to use the Flash. The McKills was down from the previous engagement, so Enemy eSports going to take game 1.
Yep. And again, back and forth game, lots of mistakes made, a lot of fantastic plays